Hi there, I'm Mistel Godlewski, an American girl who called the cornfields of Illinois home until over 10 years ago when I started navigating the chaos of life overseas. If you've ever felt that itch for something more, that whisper telling you to break free from the ordinary, you're in the right place. This podcast is your backstage pass to the wild ride of moving abroad. I'm here to pull back the curtain on the real journey, sharing stories that are funny, dramatic, and sometimes downright unbelievable. We'll explore the gritty details, from battling culture shock and navigating tricky visa processes to celebrating those small victories that make it all worth it. So whether you're daydreaming about a new life abroad or already in the thick of it, grab your passport and let's explore what it really means to live life beyond borders. Welcome to A Broadly Speaking. Hey there, friend. Welcome back to the A Broadly Speaking podcast. My name is Mistel. If you're new here, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. Today, we're talking about something that might be a little bit spicy, specifically that you're not overreacting, you're just awake. If you've been told you're being dramatic for wanting to leave the US, well, this one's for you. Let's start here. There's this little myth floating around like a bad MLM pitch on your Facebook feed. It goes something like this. We've lived through worse. Oh, every country has its problems. Things will calm down after the next election. Oh, you're just being dramatic. Okay, Susan, pour yourself a cup of lukewarm complacency and have a seat. Because if you've looked around lately and thought, this feels like a prequel to a dystopian novel, you're not broken. You're not being sensitive. You are being horrifically observant. Somewhere between book bans and lawmakers holding hearings on uterus control like it's a new Olympic event, you've realized something deeply inconvenient. You might need to leave. No, not just in a I'll move to Canada kind of way. Not just daydreaming about croissants and clean trains, but the real life, actual passport stamps, visa application, move my entire life kind of leaving. You've outgrown the coping mechanisms. You're done just hoping things improve. And you've realized, maybe for the first time, that it's not unpatriotic to want peace. It's survival. Let me say it absolutely clearly. You are not required to stay in dysfunction just because it's familiar. Okay, so maybe you're ready to leave. You've already come to the realization that I'm ready to go right now. So now comes the part that no one talks about, the logistics. This is not a Disney movie. This is not 1957. And it's definitely not just show up and figure it out. In 2025, most countries require a visa. They require a proof of income. They require you to get documents translated and sometimes a literal medical exam. Also, no country is looking for a freeloading American who shows up and says, but I brought my sourdough starter. You need an actual plan. You need to know exactly how you're going to move abroad and really stand up for yourself for it. So I have a 4-part framework to help you figure that out. You ready? Let me break it down for you. Pause here and grab a pen and paper if you need it. Otherwise, let's get going. You need to pick a country, not just the one that you love on Instagram, one that fits your lifestyle and your legal situation. That means think about the language. Not do you already speak the language? Maybe that's not the case because that could be limiting you, for example, just to Canada, the UK, Australia, and New Zealand, which, by the way, all have very difficult entry requirements at the moment. Or you could throw in Ireland just for fun, but that one does too. Are you willing to learn a language? Are you able to learn a language? And I don't just mean what you did in high school Spanish. I mean actually sit down and learn a language. You have to start thinking about visa options. What countries have visa options that work for your situation? Not everyone's going to qualify for a digital nomad visa. In fact, there aren't digital nomad visas in every country. So just because you have a small business on the side, does that earn you enough money to be able to survive? Can you prove that? Or if you're looking for a job, do you have enough skills and qualifications to help you get the job that you want? Those are things that you have to consider. Are you moving on a retirement visa or possibly a student visa? Think about the cost of living. Does it coincide with what your expectations are? Are you going to be paying more to live in another country than you are in the US? Is it going to be worth the move? You need to consider how much you have, how much you're going to have, and what kind of lifestyle you want from that. Lastly, consider safety. Obviously, moving to a war torn country is not the best way to go. But if you're LGBTQ, for example, and you're trying to move to a country that maybe isn't super LGBTQ plus friendly, not a great plan. So you want to consider all of those things when you're making your decision. And then narrow it down to 3. You don't want to do research on 47 different countries and start going off in 47 different directions to figure out what you need to do. Pick 3 max and start heading down the road on those. Step 2 is really then getting into the nitty-gritty details of your visa options. Because no, you don't become a citizen just by living there. You actually need to have visa options first. And if you want to eventually work towards citizenship, great. But at first, you need a residence permit, and that's called a visa. So you can look into things like a job seeker visa. Many countries offer you a 6 or a 12-month stay where you would have to live off your savings to look for a job in the country. Of course, there's digital nomad visas. These might also be called freelance visas. So if you're self-employed and able to move around freely, look into those potentially. If you want to go back to school and study, you can get a student visa. Many of these allow you to even work about 50%, so about 20 hours a week, at the same time of earning your college or your university diplomas. You may also qualify, for example, for a family reunification or partnership visa. You and all of your family members who are moving with you, so that includes your spouse, your partner, your children, your parents, whoever's moving with you, everyone needs a visa in order to move and live in a new country. Each one has its requirements, each one has its own fees and its own timelines. And each one is going to require you to do different things to get it. So just because you're going to get, for example, a work permit visa, your partner may need a family reunification visa, and those two things may not require exactly the same thing, and the two timelines may not coincide. So you need to be prepared for that. Step 3 is to budget like your sanity depends on it, because it literally does. There are 3 types of budgets that you need, and if you are new here and haven't been on this podcast before, I go through all 3 of these budgets in separate episodes called the budget series. So if you scroll back a bit, you'll find the budget series. And I go through a little bit over all 3 of these. There are 3 different budgets that you need. You need a pre-move budget. Those includes things like your documents, your visas, your moving, your actual physical moving of your goods from your house, translations, etc. You need a moving budget, which includes, for example, your flights, any short-term stays that you need when you first move abroad, any pet relocation, because if Fido was moving with you, he's going to need to get on the plane too. Last but not least, you need a post-move or an after budget. Things like rent and groceries, taxes, US taxes, because you'll need to potentially pay taxes in both countries. Those are all things that you need to budget for, and you need to have a plan for all of those so you don't show up with 37 cents in your bank account and wonder why no one's going to help. If that just made your eye twitch, don't worry. I actually made an entire course to help you through it as well. My accounting and budget mini course helps you figure out exactly what you need to budget for every single step of the way, giving you the details of each part of the budget, including how to manage your taxes as an American abroad. If you're interested in that, I'll drop the link in the show notes. It's really super helpful to get you through. We give you the budget template you need, plus each and every possible expense that we've encountered in my moves abroad, so that you have it all straightforward and right there with you. Step 4 is to gather your paperwork. You're going to need to start collecting birth certificates for everyone in your family, marriage or divorce papers if you're married, or if you are in a domestic partnership, or if you've been divorced and the name on your birth certificate doesn't match the name of your passport. If those two things are different, then you'll need to show that you've been divorced. You'll need background checks. You'll need diplomas, specifically likely from university, especially in, for example, Germany or Austria, which require that for any blue permit that you receive. Your red, white, red one won't need it, but your blue permit would need it for an EU blue permit. You may also need medical records. When we moved to Switzerland, as soon as we arrived, I needed medical records because I was a cancer survivor or am a cancer survivor. So I needed to be able to prove that I was no longer a cancer patient and that I wasn't going to be a burden on the insurance companies. And I ended up paying higher premiums. I was covered the whole time during my cancer treatment. But those are things that you have to consider that you may need to move. You may need to get any or all of these documents translated to the local language, especially if they're not already in English. They may need to be notarized or even with an apostille stamp or all of the above. In other words, start now. Start gathering your documents now to make your life easier as you move forward. Now, let's talk about the guilt of all of this. You're probably thinking about this and going, oh my God, this is feeling overwhelming. And great Aunt Sally is going to hate me because I'm going to move abroad. Because even when you've made your list, even when you've done your budget and picked your visa, you'll still hear, what about your family? You're abandoning us. What are we going to do for Thanksgiving? And listen, this is the hard part. But the truth is, you are allowed to choose your peace. You're allowed to protect your kids, your mental health, and your future. Leaving absolutely does not mean you don't care. It means you care enough to choose better. Let's wrap this up simply by saying, no, you're not imagining things. Yes, you might actually need to leave. And yes, you absolutely can do it. But don't wing it. Don't hope and pray. Don't just say, oh, it'll work. You don't have a fairy godmother watching over you, except maybe me. You need to make a plan. You need to use resources and know your rights. If you're ready to move from doom scrolling to decision making, I've got you. Head to the show notes and grab a link for our 10 ways to save on your move abroad. It's your ultimate guide to ways to save on moving abroad. Or better yet, you can join one of our programs. I'll drop the link in the show notes for that as well. Our budget program, our visa program. We have programs for everything to help you figure out how to move abroad. Our REACH framework starts with research and register. That's all about visas and how to get your visas, what documentation you need to gather, how to get all of it, what an apostille actually is, that kind of good stuff. Export and ship is all about shipping your stuff across the ocean, making sure that you can get it there safely, including your pets. Accounting and budget is all about the different budgets that you need, pre-move, the move, and the post-move budget, so that you can figure out exactly what you need step by step. We have a mini course on child and care, so on how you can find schools for your kids, getting them settled in, making sure you have daycare services, after school and holiday care, etc. We have one on career and professional life. So that's all about how you can move abroad, finding a job, what to do to find a job. We give you templates for exactly how to address your visa situation in your cover letter. We give you a lot of details about exactly what you could write into ChatGPT to optimize your resume and cover letter with all the true stuff, but making sure that you get the best of all the worlds. And finally, our home and health module is all about finding a temporary home, settling in, finding your permanent home, and finding healthcare abroad. So we have all of those things for you. Each one of those are separate, or you can bundle them together. You can get all 6 together. Go to the episode show notes. I'll drop the link for what we have to offer for you. Your future doesn't have to include school board chaos. It doesn't have to include health insurance nightmares and GoFundMe's for health insurance. And it certainly doesn't include screaming into your pillow at 7 p.m. It can include cappuccinos, cobblestones, and maybe even a government that doesn't treat your uterus like a rental car. You're not crazy. You're just finally paying attention. And that's the smartest move of all. Thanks for listening today to A Broadly Speaking. If this episode made you feel seen, share it with a friend, leave a review, and come to hang out with me on Instagram at I am Mistel. Until next time, pack smart, plan boldly, and don't apologize for wanting better. Thanks for tuning in to A Broadly Speaking. If today's episode got you dreaming a little bigger or thinking a little braver, go ahead and hit subscribe, leave a review, or share it with someone who's ready for their own adventure. And hey, don't be a stranger. Come hang out with me over on Instagram at I am Mistel for the real, unfiltered life abroad. keep that passport handy and remember, life's too short to stay in one place.